Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Bookmarked by Aaliyah. It is time for my January wrap-up. I read 7 books, 8, but I didn't after 1. So let's go over them. All right, y'all. This month started out with a bang. So much of a bang that now, the 27th of January that I'm doing this video, I'm in a slump. It took everything out of me to finish the last 2 books of this month, and I'm just ready to start fresh in February. I cannot wait, because hopefully that'll get me out of a slump and get me back into like the way I felt at the beginning of this month, because I started out with a bang. I started this month out with none other than Kristin Hannah, The Four Winds. We're not even going to talk about how I've repeated a million times how much I love The Nightingale, and The Women was good, but it was no Nightingale. This neck and neck with The Nightingale for me. This, again, when you read the synopsis on these books, you couldn't have told me a while back that I would ever read these type of books, but I'm just getting so lost in historical fiction, and it's like I'm finding myself like grabbing those before I grab anything else, or like at least looking them up to see what they're about. I'm just loving them. So anyway, this one is in the setting in this one is in Texas in 1921. It follows a family that's going through a very hard time because it's the Great Depression, and it's in Texas. So it was the Dust Bowl era when all the families from like Oklahoma and Texas and other places like in that area were moving out west to like start another life, because the Dust Bowl was like killing their crops in the Great Depression. They had no food. They were just, they were on hard times. So it's just their struggle through that time and trying to make a better life for themselves in California. They run into all these like struggles when they get out west, and it is heartbreaking. I cried. Like The Nightingale, I teared up on The Nightingale. This one, I actually cried. It was very sad. It was very, very sad. And as crazy as this may sound, like I love to be sad in a book. I want it to like drain me. I want to need to take a 3-hour nap when I'm done reading a book sometimes. And this started off the year just like that, and I cannot be mad at it. This isn't in any order. I just did want to tell you how I started the year off, with that being my first book. The Fire Between High and Low, Brittany Cherry. This is the second book in the Element series that I'm really getting into. I have a friend, she raves about this, Gina, and I'm really into it. I love this series. The first one took everything out of me. It was so sad. It was just depressing, but it was so good at the same time, where this one wasn't like that. It's a lot of traumatic stuff that goes on in this, and I loved it. This follows Logan, and it follows, what was her name? I can't even remember her name right now. I just remember High and Low. It's like the nicknames they have for each other. I don't remember her name, but it was a very good story. It just shows you like the struggles that the male main character went through. His friend Alyssa, is it Alyssa? I think her name is Alyssa. I might be wrong. It's an A name, but she was just really there for him. And for them to form the relationship they did out of the struggles that they were facing, it was so beautiful to read. And y'all, I read this so fast. I read at what I consider like a medium rate, speed or whatever. Like, I don't read a book like in a day, and it doesn't take me a week and a half to read a book either. I'm like right in the middle, like a good 3 days tops it takes me to read a book. 3 to 4. It just depends on the book and the size, and if it's grabbing me. It's a lot of factors involved, but for average, it's about 3 days for me to finish a book. So I can read about 2 books a week. This one, I have not read a book in a full waking day, 24 hours. Not a full 24 hours, but like from the time I opened this book and to the time I closed it, because I was finished, it was all in one day. I think I started maybe like a couple of chapters the night before, just to make sure it was what I, was going to choose to read. Y'all, I was finished this book the next day. I could not put it down. It was so, so good. Shout out to Tina for getting me this book for my birthday. And I love it. I loved everything about this book. People say that the third book was like the best one in the series, so we're going to see. But I love this book. If you are even thinking about trying out Brittany Cherry, I have not read one book by her that was a miss. It's always her writing is so beautiful. Like, she writes grief like no other. She writes traumatic situations and like how there's always like beauty behind all the ugly. She writes it so well. Auto by author Brittany Cherry. So I did a a vlog on this one. If you want to see the vlog, go back and look. But this one, nope. I don't know. This book was a buddy read, and if I did not have Chastity as my buddy read, I would have DNF'd this in a heartbeat. No reservation, like no questions asked. I would have thrown this book across the room and never picked it back up. People love this book. People give it 5 stars. I feel like with this book, like a lot of books, you're either on the 5-star train or you're like, what the heck is this train? I am on the what the heck is this train. Not even because of the content. That's what's crazy. It's not even because of the content of what's going on in the book. Like, I'm cool with spice. I'm cool with nasty, but this book was so slow. I think if they'd have just jumped off the nasty in the beginning, it might have held my attention a little more, but So this follows, I don't even remember anybody's name, but female main character, her parents are like rich. They never really paid attention to her. She really had no childhood, no life, no real feelings of love and affection and, you know, anybody that really cared for her outside of like her mom's assistant. You know, it was kind of like acting as nanny at the same time. I don't really know, but nobody really showed her love. So her parents pass away and she moves to Colorado. And I can't even remember where she originally lives, but she moves to Colorado. And it's like remote, small town that shuts down in the winter because obviously it's Colorado. It's a lot of snow. It's a lot of mountains and things like that. So she moves in with her uncle and her 2 cousins, which is the uncle's 2 sons. I'm gonna just say it. She ends up banging all of them. But like I said, it didn't even turn me off of the grossness of her uncle and cousins are the ones that are banging her. It's because they did explain that there's no blood relation. So if you're looking at me right now, like, Aaliyah, why would you read that? I don't know. I didn't know that going in. So yeah, look at me side-eyed. It's fine. But it's no blood relation. But if there's not going to be a blood relation, when y'all are having happy time, can you not say, Uncle Jake? Can you not do that? If this isn't your blood uncle, please stop calling him uncle. Especially after you start doing what you did with uncle and cousins. Can you stop referring to them as your uncle and cousins? That's it. I'm done. So I'm going to do a quick insert here because I realized I left off one book. The Last Party, A.R. Torrey. It was a thriller. So good. So good. It follows, don't give me the line because I don't remember anybody's name, but let's just say this is one that you need to go in blind. Don't read the back, just get the book, read it. Perla, the main female character, insane. She's mental. She is crazy. This book will have you going all over the place and just read the book because I can't even go into detail about it because I just realized it. Well, I was like editing and I was not about to like set all that stuff back up. So go read it. Anywho, then we read Truly, Madly, Deeply. Well, we didn't read it. I did. I just did a vlog on this one as well. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about this. This one was a good one. I read this after I read a like longer, more, in-depth book. So I needed like a palate cleanser, even though a book this thick really shouldn't be considered a palate cleanser. But I just needed something where I didn't have to think. And this is one that I didn't have to think. I'm just following the story. It's very character driven. The banter is crazy. Like, I love it. It's spicy. And this follows Ambrose and Calla. And Calla is the best friend of Ambrose's sister. So when she's like a senior year of high school, about to graduate, she has a little, situation with him. She's very quirky. Her parents really like no real attention. Things like, she was just a quirky girl. And he never really looked at her twice outside of his, sister's best friend. But she wants him to do something for her, before she goes off to college. And she doesn't trust anybody, even though they don't get along like that. But she doesn't trust anybody but him. So he does his favor for her and they move on. She ends up having to come back home because her father passes away. And so they reconnect. And it is just following their reconnection that is really like an enemies to lovers, because for some reason she has made him so mad over these years that she's been gone, and we get to find out why. And we just follow that. So it was a good palate cleanser. I can't really remember. I didn't give it anything super high and nothing really low, because it was just like a mid book for me. Nothing to really like think about, nothing to like rave about, but I do like LJ Shin's writing. This is the second book I've read by her, and I'm definitely gonna get, I want to say this is a series, a 3-book series, so I'm definitely gonna pick up the second one in the series, because it follows 2 characters that are actually in this book. It follows them in the next book, so I can't wait to get to that. All right, the moment we all been waiting for. Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. I did it, but I kind of halfway did it. So Fourth Wing, awesome. This was on my shelf for an entire year because this says exclusive holiday edition. I bought this last Christmas season just so it'll be here. So the day I want to wake up and try something new, it will already be here, and I have to make a decision like I'm going to go buy Fourth Wing, because I already knew it wouldn't happen. I'd get in the bookstore and I would not buy it. I'd pick up something else. So I got it. So when I was ready to read it, it'll already be here. It's taken me a year to read this book, and I'm so mad that I've waited a year. Y'all, this book was so good. So good. The hype was real. All of the hoopla about this series, the Empyrean series, this book is definitely worth it. It was hard to follow. There's a lot of characters. There's a lot of, verbiage and words and stuff that you may not understand. But if you keep going, you'll start to understand. Since this is not my genre, not my go-to at all, I found the dramatized audio version of this. So you have like your sound effects, you have music, you have all these things. And it keeps you really invested in the story. It keeps you it feels like you're watching. I think they consider it a movie in your ears, and you really are into the story. So it makes it easier to get through the story if it's something that's like uncomfortable for you, or something that you're not used to reading. So loved it. It follows Violet. Violet has trained to be a scribe like her whole life. Her mom is the general of this world, and her sister is part of the dragon riding squad. At the last minute, her mom says, you know what? You're not going to go be a scribe. You're going to go to the war college. You're going to learn, how to be a dragon rider. And she's like, what? Why would I do that? So she's not built for this. So you get to see all of the struggle, all of the hurt, all of the pain, the love interests, the secrets. You get to find out so much. It's hard to explain this. And I wouldn't even, if I could explain it, I wouldn't. Because I want you to go in the way I went in if you've never read this book, and just go along for the ride. It was so good. But I messed up. I couldn't stop thinking about that book because it leaves you on a cliffhanger. Why is she squeaking this right behind my ear? Oh, Lola. Anyway, so I couldn't stop thinking about the cliffhanger. So I'm like, goes to Amazon, orders the book. I start reading this or listening to it too. Same way I did that one, I was going to do this. I'm going to listen to it. And once I'm kind of in the story, I'm going to read it. Because it's easier to read these after you know what the heck is going on. Then you can sit and comfortably read your book, whether it's on this or Kindle or whatever. But you got to get into the story first. So I made a rookie mistake, for me, because it's just my personal preference. I am not a serial reader. I like series, but I'm not going to read a 4-book series back to back to back to back. I might read the first book in January, but I might not pick up that second book until March or April, maybe not even till October, So that's why I'm in the middle of 1,000 series, because I don't like to read my books that way. I want to miss you. I want to forget, and I want to be surprised all over again like it's the first time. Girl! So I made the mistake of going into this. I thought I was just going to read a couple of, paragraphs or whatever, just to see, because I didn't know if that cliffhanger was real. So I had to go see what happens next. So I got that, and then I stopped. This one seems like it's going to be a lot of information, and one that I have to be locked in to. And I wasn't really trying to be locked in anything, because I was just locked in to Fourth Wing. I didn't want to make that commitment. This is a lot thicker than what Fourth Wing is, and I didn't want to make that commitment. And then this is 600 and some pages, right? And then while I started this book, I started a buddy read. Needless to say, I DNF this book. It's a soft DNF because I do want to read this book. I'm still very, very interested in this world. I need to see where this goes. I want to know like how things are going to pan out. And I'm like really invested in these dragons. I really love Andarna. I love her. But I'll get to it when I get to it. So I did a soft DNF on that. So the second mistake I made with reading that book is that I started a buddy read of Demon's Dream with, Gina Loves to Read. If you see my last vlog, you see I read both of those books together. So Demon's Dream is a 750-page book. Who did I think I was to be able to read both of those books at one time? So, lesson learned. I would never do that again. If I'm reading a thickie, we're only reading the thickie, maybe a novella here and there. But like, we're not reading two 600, 700 page books together. That was just dumb. I don't know why I did it. I don't know who I thought I was, but anyway. So Demon's Dream. This is another book, like Fourth Wing, that it was really just FOMO. Like everybody loves this book. 4.5 stars, 5 stars. Everybody loved this book. So I'm like, okay, let me dabble in this really quick. Where I see how people rated it 5 stars, I totally get it. I get it. It was drama. There was action. There were secrets. There were so many things that just grab you. So the first couple chapters, I was like, all right, where are we going with this? Then like shortly in, we start going somewhere. But with a book of that length, you can't just jump the story off. So I was giving it a chance. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give it a chance because you can't just tell everything and all the secrets. And you can't know everything with a book that long. You're not gonna know anything probably to the 400, 500 page mark, honestly. So I'm reading and I'm into it. I'm liking the side characters more than I'm liking Demon and Dream. Then it flips and I'm more interested in Demon and I'm more interested in Dream. Like it was a good ride, a long ride, a real long road trip, but I enjoyed the ride. I will say this, I could not give this 5 stars. I cannot give this 4 stars just because, honestly, I didn't like any of the male main characters, y'all. I just didn't. I can't condone just straight up disrespect. Like I can't. Like that's just not cool. Like, and then for them to be disrespected the way they are, then be bought, with all, the gifts and things like that, and you just instantly forgot about how dude was just treating you. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't get with that. And then for them to be like turned on when they get straight up disrespected and treated like, it's fiction. So I'm really trying to keep that in mind. But like, there's a lot of fiction that I don't want to read, because it's something that either I don't agree with or something that I just can't get on board with in my personal life and personal opinion, like who Aaliyah is. And while it's fiction, in real life, if Dream was my friend and dude was acting like that, I'm not the girl, you need to leave him type of friend. I'm not that friend. You gonna make your own decisions. It doesn't matter. If I'm not directly asked, I'm not giving you an opinion. That's just the friend that I am. I'm never gonna tell you to leave somebody because I don't know your situation 100% the way you do. So where things might look crazy to me, that's not my place to tell you to leave somebody. That's not my place. So I'm not that friend. But I would be that friend for Dream. I want to like scream through the Kindle and say, like, girl, what are you doing? She had a head on her shoulders. She was educated. She knew she had her own money. She had a lot going for herself, so she didn't need to like settle. I felt like she was settling for crumbs. Both of the sisters, I felt like they were settling for crumbs. Cartier, however you want to say his name, the other male main character, because I think there were like 4 of the main characters. He was better than what I felt like Demon was. And Demon, don't get me wrong, he had his reasons as to why he was the way he was. I get that. I'm not excluding that at all, but I just didn't like him. And I didn't like, the other dude either, really. But so that's why I couldn't give it 5 stars. Is it a good ride? Should you read this book? Absolutely. Read this book. I just can't give it 4 and 5 stars, but I enjoy the ride. I'm not mad at it at all. But so yeah. So these are my books, y'all. This is all that I've read in January. I cannot wait to get to February. I think, because it's just the 27th, we got what, 4 or 5 days left of the month. I'm probably going to read something short. So I'll just include that probably with like my February wrap up. So thank you for watching my January wrap up. If you haven't seen vlogs that I did on a lot of these books, go back and check those out. And I will see you on the next one.